welcome into the first episode of College Hockey Southwest Weekly here at IcetimeHockeySW.com. I'm Scott Strandy, along with Tom Callahan. Tom, welcome in.
Thanks, Scott. It's good to be here. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun this year.
You know, I'm putting you on the spot because I'm going to make you talk college hockey. I know you've been doing a lot of professional hockey in the past, but you're familiar with this game. It's all hockey, right?
Well, it is all hockey, and you know what? I love college. College is a lot of fun. It's fast. It's exciting. If you've never watched a college game, maybe you're just tuning us in for the first time, it's worth coming down to check out. These kids play hard every night. They don't have as long of a schedule, so usually fatigue is not a big issue, and it's just a lot of fun to watch.
You know, Tom, one of the things we had a chance to see this weekend was Arizona State open up their season against Alaska Fairbanks. I know you had some thoughts from Sunday's game. So first of all, give me a little opinion on what you saw.
I really liked the way ASU played. I thought the Sun Devils were a very strong team. Clearly their power play is very good and has a chance to really make a difference in games. It was physical. It was very physical against Fairbanks. Fairbanks tried to hit them and take them off their game, but I thought even though there were a decent number of penalties in the contest, I thought that both teams did a pretty good job not getting too far off the mark and really holding it together. So, you know what? I thought ASU played well against a difficult opponent. They got some great goaltending and scored some timely goals.
So that's the ASU roster. Talk a little bit about your first adventure here to Oceanside Ice Arena and the friendly confines, as I like to call it.
Yeah, Oceanside, it reminds me a lot of rinks I played in growing up. You know, the lighting, the low roof, it's close. It was loud in here, even though they listed the attendance at 625, but I'll tell you what, it's packed, and you can't get many more people in here. So it's a fun atmosphere. It's a neat place, and it's really, I think, a place, if you can come down and see a game here, it's unique and it's fun.
You know, last weekend, Tom, they played Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, which is a rarity for the Sun Devils. It's mostly a Friday night, Saturday night schedule all season long. But they came back and won both games, got a sweep. They haven't allowed a goal yet. Joey Decord hasn't. So they're off to a jumping start, but this week is different, isn't it?
It definitely is different. They're facing the number one team in the nation, Ohio State, coming in, a team that made a bit of a surprise run last year but returned 21 players this year. Having that core together, Scott, is huge for Ohio State because it's so much easier to pick up where you left off. This is a tough opponent, a tough out, but you know what? I don't think the Sun Devils would have it any other way. They want those tough opponents. They want to prove what they can do, and if Joey Decord's playing well, it starts there in net. He's going to see a lot more shots this weekend.
Well, Tom, we're looking forward to having Joey sit in with us and have a little visit with you on the first episode. We also have a little visit with the Alaska Fairbanks coach. Eric Largen was in with me last weekend. So let's kick off the show with a little visit with Joey Decord.
Let's do it.
Safer, non-toxic, and a great value. Visit our website and online store today at www.oxypal.com. On our website, you can make a service appointment, buy products, or learn more about us and our great franchising opportunities.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Tom Callahan here, joined by Joey Decord, Arizona State goaltender. And Joey, thanks for joining us first and foremost. Congratulations on a pretty good opening weekend here. And I just wanted to get your thoughts. How's it feel to get back to game action a little bit?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It was really nice. You know, it almost just felt, it was a little strange there for a minute, kind of getting back into things, especially with no preseason game. But, you know, once we got back into it, it felt like just a continuation of last year and just tried to, you know, focus on stopping the puck and giving my team a chance to win. So it was a really good weekend. It was a great start for us.
Before we get into talking a little bit more about this year and everything, I wanted to get into your background a little bit. I know your dad's a goaltending guru, but you know, I've read where he didn't really say, you know what, you should really look into hockey. I know you played soccer and did some tennis as a kid, but what drew you to goaltending?
I mean, it's all I ever did, really, from when I was a kid. It's all I ever really wanted to be. I always did other stuff. I played soccer, I played tennis, I played Little League baseball. I played a lot of sports. My dad never really pushed me to be a goalie, but it's just kind of what I always did. And I remember I started at a really young age. I remember my mom telling me, she always tells me I was at the rink when I was 3 days old. So kind of just hockey's always been in my blood, and then I guess I was just always destined to be a goalie.
Does that give you an advantage to have a dad like that? It sounds like, you know, when you need coaching, there's definitely some coaching there, but does that help you? Has he been supportive and not, you know, oh boy, you really got to play hockey here and put that pressure on you?
Yeah, no, he was awesome, especially when I was younger as a kid. He never pressure me to say I had to play hockey or anything. And he's always been a really good resource for me, like growing up, just watching hockey together. And I would just always be with him, and we'd always be at hockey rinks, just me being a rink rat and watching hockey, going to hockey games on the ice. Is all I ever really did, all I ever really wanted to do when I was a kid. So, having him as a resource, I think he's done a really good job, kind of knowing when to push and when to let me do my own thing. And especially as I've gotten older too, he's really kind of backed off a little bit and let me be my own person. And, it's been really good on that end. And we've always had a really good kind of relationship and good communication where he kind of knows how to push my buttons and what buttons to push at the right time. And we've just always worked together really well. So I've been very fortunate to have him in my life.
As an Ottawa draft pick, I know that you end up coming to ASU. What went into that decision as far as, how much communication did you have with the Senators? Was it your call? Was it a little bit of, hey, maybe this is the route for you? How did you arrive at that?
Well, I committed to Arizona State before I got drafted. So by the time I got drafted, I was already committed to ASU, and they were really happy for me. They thought ASU would be a good spot for me to develop and hopefully play a lot of games, and when the time comes, hopefully be ready for that next step. And it's worked out really well so far. They seem to be happy. So, and I've loved it here for 3 years now. So I'm just looking forward to this weekend and hopefully a couple of other big wins.
What are some of the things you've been working on coming into this season and trying to sharpen up?
Just always trying to develop my skill set, and I've really been working on skating and just trying to be the best skater I can, working on my edges and just trying to put myself in positions to make saves. I find that when I'm in the right spot and my feet are set and I'm there in time to get a good look at the shot, I feel like I got a pretty good chance at stopping it. So for me, I'm just always trying to develop my skating and just try to become the best skater possible.
You also like to handle the puck a bit out there. Where'd you pick that one up from?
Well, it's funny. When I was in junior, I always liked playing the puck, but when I was in junior, we struggled a little bit breaking the puck out. So our team breakout was mostly just, let me get the puck and play it. So it kind of gave me free rein to just kind of get good at it and wheel and deal a little bit and get out there and skate around. So that's kind of where I started to get good at it. And then, Coach Powers encourages me to do whatever I can to help the team break out. Keep it simple, obviously, but when plays are there, feel free to make plays. So for me, it's really fun. I like doing it, and when it works out as well as it did on Saturday night, then it's really fun because that doesn't happen too often.
Well, let's take a look at Ohio State coming in this weekend, number one team in the nation right now. It's going to be a big assignment. You will certainly see more shots than you did from Fairbanks coming up here, but are you excited for that challenge?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's more fun when I get a lot of shots and I'm really into the game, and I feel like I can get my teeth into the game a little bit more. So I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a fun weekend. It's going to be a really good test for our team, good measuring stick, see where we're at. Because we think we have a good group in our room. We really like the team that we have, so it's going to be a really good test to see where we are.
Coach says there's not a lot of pressure on you guys, and actually he says no pressure at all because, you're not Ohio State. They're number one. They're coming here. Do you feel that way in the room? Is it kind of that, that loose but focused mentality? Absolutely.
I think there's a certain focus to our team that we know that we're good enough to beat these kind of teams now. Maybe we didn't always have that belief. So it's nice. You can kind of feel it in the room. There's a tangible feeling that we know what we have in our team, and we're excited to show the rest of the country what we got.
And for the rest of the season, you have a pretty packed schedule too. There's a lot of challenges that lay ahead of you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the nice thing is we got a lot of opportunities to play good teams and see show them where we are exactly and play really well. So we just got to take advantage of every opportunity we can and try to make the most of them, and hopefully we'll have some really big wins this year.
Joey, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Welcome into the first edition of the 2018-19 season of College Hockey Southwest. I'm your host, Scott Strandy. I've got the head coach of Alaska Fairbanks and the Nooks. I got Eric Largent with me. Eric, first of all, welcome to the Desert Southwest.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having me on the program here.
You know, it's always great to get the hockey season off to a start. I know for you guys it's a long trip, though. So first of all, let's talk about what that was like getting down here to Tempe, Arizona for the first weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 flights for us, and honestly, it's a shorter trip. I mean, you guys are in the Pacific time zone right now for us, so typically we're flying out to Michigan or we're flying out to Minnesota or Huntsville, so this is a shorter trip for us, and we've enjoyed it so far and excited about the weekend.
You know, I always ask everybody that comes in here the first time, what do you think of Oceanside Ice Arena? We like to call it the friendly confines, but for you guys and probably your players, it's quite an adjustment.
Yeah, it's an adjustment, but you know what? I think the atmosphere is going to be great in here tonight. I think there's going to be a lot of people, and Arizona State's done a really good job of branding their arena. You know, so it's intimate, it's cozy, but we're looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a really fun night.
You know, I heard your radio guy just interview you briefly and talk a little bit about the big ice up in Alaska to the smaller rink here and the adjustment period for it. But tell everybody what it's like on your team. How do you adjust your game plan to fit the smaller ice sheet?
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing for us is we have 2 rinks. So we have our game rink, which is an Olympic size sheet, and then our other rink on campus is an NHL size rink. So we practice there in preparation of when we play on a smaller sheet and get adjusted to it. And it's, you know, a little bit faster, a little bit different of a game and some strategies and some special team stuff. But, you know, otherwise it's still hockey, and we still got to be competitive, and we still got to do the right things and make sure that we're bought into playing Nanook hockey.
Let's talk a little bit about your program. You had a chance to play an exhibition game against Simon Fraser. They came down here, I believe, last year or the year before, one of the two, and played ASU. But they're a competitive Canadian team. But tell me, you guys whooped up on them pretty good, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a good night, and you know, it was just nice to see. I mean, I thought it was a good team effort, and we were playing well away from the puck. But they're a good team, a good program. We've had the opportunity to play them 3 years now in a row, and we look forward to when they're coming up to Alaska. They play Anchorage the first night, and then they come up to Fairbanks on the second night for the weekend.
So this is your first gig as a head coach in the college ranks, right? So tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you first, getting the adjustment and taking over the role.
Yeah, it's just learning. You know, you're learning constantly. It's learning day by day, and you know, you're just putting in an effort in order to be able to best support the guys and make sure that the program's in a good spot. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work and a lot of learning. So it's been a really good experience for me so far.
You know, when we look at the NCAA hockey ranks, I know ASU has got, if not the toughest, one of the toughest schedules, and I know you guys are pretty close behind them, especially to start the season.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare your team for competition like that and travel like that? What do you do?
I mean, honestly, we're just trying to get better every single day. I know it sounds pretty cliche, but that's what we want to do. I mean, we just want to get better, and every time that we step onto the ice rink, and I think our guys have a choice to be able to do that, whether they're going to, you know, choose to get better or choose to stay stagnant. And, you know, we're going to have a really tough schedule, you know, playing Arizona State and then playing Denver, playing St. Cloud. So, I mean, our non-conference schedule is really tough this year, and then we start league play with Minnesota Mankato. So, no cupcake games there at all, but, you know, we're looking forward to it and looking forward to get better.
Let's talk a little bit about your league, the WCHA, and the teams that are in there. You mentioned Minnesota State, Mankato, how good they are. But the league as a whole, and actually college hockey as a whole, has gotten better over the past 5 to 10 years, hasn't it?
Well, I mean, top to bottom, I think our league's so competitive and so hard. It's so hard to get points in on a weekend. It just really is. I mean, you have Mankato, you had Michigan Tech that made the run at the end of the year, Northern Michigan with such a great year, and what Grant Patolni's done there, Bowling Green year in and year out, tough, Bemidji with Coach Sartori. I mean the top, and that's just the top, and then you still have all the logjam with Ferris State and Lake State and Alabama Huntsville, and I mean, it's just from top to bottom, it's such a tough conference and so tough to get points, and you know, we're fortunate enough to be in it, and you know, fortunate enough to be able to get better because of the teams that we play on a consistent basis.
You know, Arizona State right now not only does not have the arena yet, which is 2 years away, but they don't have a conference either. And Coach Powers looks at that independent role as an opportunity for him to get out and play a lot of different competition and things like that. So being remotely like you are in Alaska, what's it like getting competition? Is it hard to get people to come up there in the non-conference part of your schedule, or no?
You know what? We haven't had a lot of issues with it in the past, and we play so many league games that we don't have to go looking for a lot of non-conference games. But yeah, teams have been good with coming up. We've been good with going down there, so we've gotten good competition non-conference, and we understand it too. I mean, Alaska Fairbanks was an independent program too to start at the Division I level, and had to do the same thing that Arizona State did, where you're trying to schedule and get games and trying to make the best competition and trying to get home games for your fans and things like that. But we're excited to be partnered with Arizona State. We hope it continues in the future. We have a lot of respect for Greg Powers and his coaching staff over there.
Let's wrap things up by having you tell us a little bit about what we can expect out of the Nanooks this weekend. What's your roster been like that you've seen since you got on the ice?
Yeah, I think we're going to be a hard-working group. I really like the mix that we have up front and on the back end. I think we're going to be competing. We're going to trying to play fast and up-tempo, so it should be a lot of fun for watching us this year and watching us this weekend against Arizona State.
Talk a little bit about your goaltenders. You have a few of them, right, that you can choose from, but you got one that's going to start at least the opening night tonight, and I heard you say earlier he's earned it, so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have Anton Martinson playing tonight. He played the majority of our games last season. And, he's a very competitive kid. He's done a great job. He's a Swedish goaltender, and he just has great character and great athleticism, and he gives us a chance to win most nights, and we're looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in his second-year campaign.
I guess I lied to you. We're going to wrap it up by letting you tell us what you know about the Sun Devils.
Yeah.
I know you haven't had a chance to see them on tape, because they haven't been on tape since last year, but new roster, a lot of new freshmen, solid goaltender. What do you think, and what do you have to do to try to steal a couple down here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach Powers has done a really good job of instilling a culture. I think they're going to play a really up-tempo game. I think their defensemen are going to be involved. I think they're going to be very competitive. So, I mean, we're going to have to be able to match that. We're going to have to make sure that we're getting pucks in deep, and we're possessing the puck well down low, and making sure that we're not taking any shortcuts, because otherwise they're going to take advantage of it. They've done a really good job building year in and year out, and the freshman group that they have right now I think is going to be a pretty good group. So we got a challenge this weekend, but we're looking forward to it and looking forward to getting better tonight.
Coach, I appreciate your time. And
yeah.
Thanks for jumping in on us on the first show, the first segment.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem. Thank you very much.
All right, we're back. We've got a little preview to do, and we got the number one team in the country coming in, Tom. So let's talk a little bit about the Ohio State Buckeyes. I know you touched on the fact that they have 21 returners, but talk a little bit specifically more about this team and what we can expect here at Tempe this weekend.
Well, we talked earlier about how Joey DeCourt's going to have his handful. A lot of shots coming his way, and that's because Ohio State's returning basically 75% of their goal scoring from last year. They only had one guy that they lost in the offseason, and you know what? For any team, again, just having the core coming back is great, but to have all your top scorers returning is just tremendous. And so that's such an advantage for Ohio State, who hasn't played a game yet got elevated to number one. I was going to ask you, why did they get elevated to number one, Scott? What happened there?
Well, that's a little dig at me and my alum with the University of Minnesota Duluth, who lost the game at hosting Minnesota, which was a heck of a start for them. Minnesota and Minnesota Duluth, fierce rivalry. They never really want to play the first two games of the season, but they did. And that loss elevated Ohio State to the number one spot in the country. Steve Rolich, the head coach at Ohio State, is not an alumni of Minnesota Duluth, but a previous coach there for 10 years. So he knows a lot about that program. He knows a lot about hockey. He's in his sixth year now at Ohio State, and he's had them in the Frozen Four twice, including last year.
Last year was a bit of a surprise run for Ohio State. I don't think anybody thought they'd be that good, but they really did get solid goaltending. They got goal scoring. It kind of all came together for them, and to me, that also speaks to what Rolich's been doing there for the last 6 years, building this program. Look, when I was a kid, nobody talked about Ohio State hockey.
Right.
It was just not on the map. It was not something anybody talked about as a powerhouse. So it's a lot of credit to what he's been able to do with this program. And I'll tell you what, coming in, Arizona State's got such a tough schedule this year, but coming in, the number one team starts their season here. are they going to take Arizona State a little too lightly? Are they going to say, oh, this should be an easy win, and then they come up against a tough hockey club that they're not expecting to be challenged? And it's going to be Rolik's job to get them ready for that. He's got to make sure they don't look past this weekend and that they come out of the gate firing. It's going to be a tough test, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I do too. I think one of the things, it's not only a chance to overlook a team down here, but it's the trip coming down here to Tempe. It's a long flight. It's the weather. It's the atmosphere around here. It's playing at Oceanside Ice Arena. Probably more importantly, though, it's playing your first game competition against a team that's already played a couple games and is ready for you.
Right, and they've had a chance. I don't know if you want to call playing Fairbanks a warm-up series. I don't know if that's really fair, but just to get it in gear a little bit, and Arizona State not having allowed a goal yet this season, and DeCourt playing as well as he has. These are all things that Arizona State has going for it. Ohio State, you kind of hope they come down here and treat it like a mini vacation a little bit. Oh, hey, it's sunny out. Let's go hang by the pool. Let's relax outside in the sunshine. But and again, that falls to the coach and the senior leadership on this team to have this team ready to go to come out of the gate flying. Look, they're still number one. They're still really good. These guys have played together before. It's going to be a tough test.
And we know they're offensively, but Sean Romeo, their stud goaltender, who played a majority of the games last year, 37 starts for the season, which is a lot in college hockey. And he's coming back with a vengeance, from what I hear.
Yeah, and he had a goals against, I think it was 209, and then he had a 927 last year. Those are great numbers for college hockey, and that speaks well to the defense in front of him as well. But, that's something that I think Arizona State did well this past weekend against Fairbanks. They took advantage of the opportunities to score. They jumped out early. They scored some of those opportunistic goals. They're going to get far fewer grade A chances against Ohio State, and they need to cash those in, and it's going to be a tougher goaltender. It's going to be a tougher opponent, and that's going to be a huge key for Arizona State, is cashing those in.
And the other thing with Ohio State, they come in with a devastating, dominating, I should say, power play, and their penalty kill is very good as well, which is the ingredients, right? Great goaltending, great special teams, and that wins you a lot of hockey games.
Yeah, it really does. And you look in the pro game at Chicago when they won those 3 cups in the last 10 years, a lot of people say, oh, look at Kane, look at Taves. Yeah, they could score goals, but their main thing was defense. They kept the shots against low. They got saves when they needed it, but they didn't have to get above average goaltending. They were just able to reduce that workload. And if you can't get shots through, if you're able to possess the puck in the defensive zone and turn it back quickly the other way, the other team just doesn't have the chances to score. And I think Ohio State is very good at that. As you mentioned, the top-ranked penalty kill, number 3 ranked defense last year in college hockey. So it's going to be up to ASU to really have to get on the forecheck and win those battles, because Ohio State is so good at that.
College hockey, Southwest Weekly couldn't have had a better matchup to kick off the week, bringing the number 1 team here to Tempe. If ASU comes out with a win, a split, even, God forbid, a sweep, it would put this program on the map, wouldn't it?
I think they could put themselves on the map with really good efforts this weekend. I don't think if they played 2 close games against Ohio State and came up short that you would even consider that not putting them on the map, because maybe you do catch Ohio State a little by surprise coming in here. They might not know what they're coming up against. And if Joey DeCourt plays well, goaltenders can steal you a game. Sometimes they can steal you a series, and anything's possible, Scott, and that's the beauty of it. That's why you got to play the games. That's why you got to play the games. And I look forward for Ohio State to, if they're going to come out and jump on ASU, it's going to be a test and it's going to be a long weekend. But if Arizona State can maybe grab some momentum early, then, hey, they've got a shot. And you know what? This program will put itself on the end of the map by the year.
Tom, let's come right back, and we'll wrap things up on the first edition of College Hockey Southwest Weekly.